It's Friday, February the 26th, and welcome to the reading of the Record Courier. My name is Pam, and let's begin our reading with the area deaths. James D. Richards, known as Stymie, 64, of Garrettsville, passed away Thursday, February 18th at UH Portage Medical Center in Ravenna. In honoring his request, cremation has taken place and there will be no calling hours. A celebration of his life will be held at a later date. Mary Solly of Edinburgh, known as Mary Solly Swain of Edinburgh, 75, passed away unexpectedly at home on Saturday, February 20th. The family will hold a private memorial at Edinburgh Cemetery and a celebration of life party sometime this summer. Well, friends, that concludes the area deaths listed in the online edition, so we'll begin with our first article. COVID-19 variant from United Kingdom diagnosed in Portage County by Diane Smith. 11 people in Ohio have been diagnosed with a variant of the COVID-19 virus, including one person in Portage County, county health officials said on Thursday. Dr. Mark Arredondo, medical director of the Portage County Health District, said 11 cases of the United Kingdom variant of the virus has been reported to the state's health department. In addition to the case in Portage County, cases have also been reported in other counties, including Cuyahoga and Medina. Statewide, the affected individuals range in age between 2 and 83, he said. He did not provide any information on the age or condition of the Portage County patient. The positive result, he said, was based on lab samples reported to the state health department. It's not unusual for viruses to mutate, he said. Kent Health Commissioner Joan Seidel said her department, in cooperation with the health district, had vaccinated staff in the Kent City School District. Those teachers and staff, she said, have their second dose scheduled. That does not mean that we get to discontinue these safety measures, she said. Hand washing, physical distancing, and wearing protective equipment, she noted, is more important than ever. Restrictions to be lifted on sports venues and banquet halls. Governor Mike DeWine announced Thursday that Ohio will soon lift COVID-19 restrictions on sports venues, banquet halls, wedding receptions, and more. Ohio sports venues will be able to have fans at games again, 25% capacity at indoor venues, and 30% at outdoor venues. The venues will have to follow some guidelines, such as mandatory mask wearing for employees and customers, seating in pods of no more than 6 people, and separating groups of spectators by at least 6 feet. Forthcoming health orders will set rules for sports venues, restaurants, and catering and banquet facilities to take effect Monday. Those will affect proms, weddings, and other spring and summer events. 8 counties now orange on Ohio's COVID color map. For the first time in weeks, Ohio's color map has changed as COVID-19 case rates and hospitalizations continue to drop across the state. 4 Ohio counties, Holmes, Shelby, Mercer, and Williams, dropped from red level 3 to orange level 2 this week, joining 4 other existing orange counties, Monroe, Hocking, Vinton, and Gallia, in the 4-tier color-coded Ohio Health Advisory System. A county stays red, level 3, on the color map until it drops below the high incident threshold of more than 100 cases per 100,000 over a 2-week period, which all 4 of the counties that dropped this week did. The rest of Ohio's 88 counties remain red, level 3. There have been no yellow, level 1 counties since mid-November. There aren't currently any purple counties. And now, let's talk about Portage Commissioners' vote to end live stream of weekly meetings by Bob Gagins. Live streaming of the Portage County Commissioners has come to an end, at least for now. Commissioners voted 2-1 this morning to end the practice, with Commissioners Tony Badalamenti and Sabrina Christian Bennett bemoaning the difficulty of maintaining the audio quality and small viewership. Commissioner Vicki Klein, who was not at the meeting where the plan was first discussed on Tuesday, voted against ending the live stream of the meetings. What is the expense, she asked. Really, what is the downside? Christian Bennett said the plan going forward will be to post audio recordings of meetings along with the minutes. We'll be going back to what we were doing, she said. We'll still record the audio. Christian Bennett and Badalamenti did not return phone calls seeking comment on the live streaming matter. Christian Bennett said the audio did not become a problem until last month when the three commissioners began meeting in the conference room they use for public meetings. Prior to that, they had been using Zoom remotely to broadcast meetings. The meetings were live streamed from Zoom to the county's YouTube channel. In addition to poor audio quality, Badalamenti said the service was underutilized by county residents. I looked at the numbers provided by IT, he said. The maximum number was 154 viewing it. Less than 1% of people watch it. Nobody really watches it for the effort they put into it. Klein said she's not sure where the 154 people could gather in a single room within the administrative building. Barb Tittle of Kent, who attends the meetings, said Badalamenti's comments were dismissive of the rights of those who wish to view the meetings. It was kind of like, oh, you guys don't matter because you're just a tiny percentage of the population, she said. Klein, she talked to Lloyd Alger, head of the county's IT team, about the matter following the vote. They've got a lot of work to do because we've got new computers that need to be installed, she said, adding they are short-handed at the moment. Alger said the live stream wasn't really intended to be permanent when it was established last March. At that time, we didn't expect this to last for nearly a year, he said. He said recent conversations with Christian Bennett have focused on determining whether the audio can be posted online rather than a solution, the live stream quality, adding he isn't sure what equipment would be needed to provide a better quality live stream meeting. Badalamenti said it's possible the county could upgrade the audio and bring back live stream meetings with improved audio, but there were no directions to begin research of the cost of setting up a system. Tittle said she was disappointed that some commissioners aren't living up to statements made on campaign. When candidates were running for office, I talked to them and told them the most important thing was to get more contact with the people who live in the county, she said, adding candidates had heartily agreed with her while on the campaign trail. Now, she says, ending live streaming of meeting seems to go against that statement. She said more accessible meetings benefit the people who can't get to meetings or can't get inside the room because of space. I agree with Treasurer Brad Crome's comment about sunshine being good disinfectant, she said. Cromes penned a letter to commissioners on Tuesday, which he posted to social media, urging them to continue the live stream. Portage County Young Democrats also urged residents to email and contact the three commissioners to weigh in on the live streaming. Brian Ames, who also was at Thursday's meeting, dismissed the concerns of area residents and local media unhappy with the ending of live-streamed public meetings. These people are all just looking for something to gripe about, he said. Sound Solutions. Warren Brown, owner of Brown Audio Service in Norton, shed some light on audio equipment. He said the audio quality problem can be addressed for as little as a couple $1,000s or as much as $20,000 to $30,000, depending on the commissioner's desires. One mic is not going to cut it, he said. 4 mics around the table would be better, but not as good as individual mics sent up into a mixer. Using 4 mics around the table with a mixer is the budget option. Ideally, each speaker would have his or her own mic. In these types of solutions, where you've got a conference table set up with a distance meeting, you basically use a system where everybody has their own microphone, he explained. A lot of time, it's a little thing that sits on the table that you might not even identify as a mic. Then you have an audio mixer that senses who's talking. The ideal is that you don't want to have 10 mics open at the same time. And with that, it's time to move to the next article. Sean Brayman excited to take the helm at Northwest Local Schools by Amy Knapp. In Canal Fulton, the Northwest Local Board of Education hired Sean Brayman to serve as the district's next superintendent at a special meeting Thursday morning. Brayman, who served as superintendent at Waterloo Local Schools in Portage County, will take the leadership role August 1st. Dennis Lambs will continue to serve as interim until July 31st. The board asked the retired Northwest superintendent in 2019 to serve as interim while they conducted the candidate search. Brayman, 54, a Doylestown resident, told board members he was excited and thrilled to be at Northwest, and he looked forward to working with the board. The hiring comes more than a year and a half after Mike Schreffler left the top leadership role in July 2019. The board enlisted the help of the Ohio School Board Association to find a new superintendent. The board received 30 applications. It narrowed the group to 12 and then 5 finalists before making its choice. Board President Jim Gindelsberger said the group had a tough decision when it came to selecting a new leader, but Brayman checks all of the boxes. When we get down to the 5 finalists, from there, it was a very tough choice, he said. We went back to our original desires and wants and our original goals, and we had to put check marks on the board. It came down to 2. Sean Hittmore for the need of the community and school. Gindelsberger said the board wanted someone who could focus on strategic planning goals for the district in the next 5 to 10 years. Someone who would be involved in the community and someone who puts the students first. Sean is incredibly student-focused, he added. The board also received some unsolicited praise for Brayman from former students. One student sent an email lauding their former principal. Another was serving as a substitute teacher at Northwest and shared approval. And another, who happened to be a board member's nurse, shared how amazing he was as a principal. That speaks volumes when people seek you out, Gindelsberger said. Brayman, whose wife Tina is a media specialist at Northwest High School, wanted to be part of the Northwest community. Over the years, he's seen how wonderful the community and the district are, and it was something that attracted him to the job. When the opening happened, I thought, I want to be a part of a community like this, the father of 4 daughters said. The district is excellent. The 1985 Revere High graduate earned a bachelor's degree in education from Walsh University. He then began his teaching career at Archbishop Hoban High School before heading to Green Local Schools, where he taught high school English. He later did stints as an assistant principal in Brunswick and principal at Barberton Middle School and Chippewa High School before moving into the role as superintendent at Waterloo, where he has spent the last 6 years. While he still has a lot to learn about the district, Brayman sees the district becoming more entwined with the community. The signs of any great district is one that feels like it is all together and growing from each other, he said. I'm very comfortable with having community people involved, and I'm ready to work on building relationships and collaborating more with the community. There are many people who want to work with the district, and Brayman believes he is the kind of person who can help put it all together. There is a great relationship, but we can always tweak things and eventually foster relationships that develop a real, deep, everlasting trust, he said. Moving on. The annual Polar Plunge will help fund scholarships in the name of Kent firefighter Don Beckett by Jeff Saunders. Area residents who do not mind getting wet have an opportunity to help students pay for college this Saturday. But while the cash may not literally be cold, donors may be. The Kent Firefighters Association and the Theodore Roosevelt High School chapter of DECA, an international organization of marketing students, is partnering to put on the 9th annual Polar Plunge at the Overlook Restaurant and Event Center at 1519 Overlook Road from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Using the motto, "Freezin' for a Reason," proceeds from the event will benefit the Don Beckett Memorial Scholarship Fund, which provides scholarships to students living in Kent and Franklin Township. Kent firefighter Brad McDougall said the number of scholarships awarded each year depends upon how much is raised. Last year, we gave 4 $1,000 scholarships, he said. We usually give at least 2 to 4 scholarships, and each of them is $1,000. Those wishing to participate by plunging into the Twin Lakes can sign up by calling 330 676 8862. Plungers are given an assigned time and wear masks when not in the water, and social distancing is required. People are encouraged to sign up, but they don't have to sign up, so there might be more people coming than are actually signed up, said McDougall. He said the DECA chapter is actually responsible for signing people up. And they get a lot of high school kids there to participate and donate, he said. Roosevelt teacher Brent Pfeiffer, who teaches marketing management, an honor level marketing and entrepreneurship program at the high school, said on Tuesday that about 30 people have registered. We ask people to make a donation when they jump, and we do get some local corporations that have donated in the past, said Pfeiffer. We're waiting to hear back from some. McDougall said Beckett, a Kent firefighter who died from throat cancer in 2011, started the scholarship. He was very instrumental in the Kent community and the Kent schools, said McDougall. Beckett lived in Kent, and his children were students in the Kent School District. McDougall said he recalled Beckett volunteering his time, helping with physicals for student athletes, taking blood pressures and such. So when he passed, we started the Polar Plunge and we made it a fundraiser for his scholarship, said McDougall, adding, it's a good event that honors and remembers Don, but is really for the high school kids, a good way to raise money for scholarships. McDougall said the Overlook owner Dave Beck has been the third piece in making the event possible, providing the venue for the event. With COVID, McDougall says he does not know what will happen this year, but in past years, Beck opened up the restaurant for people to have lunch, and he provided a DJ for entertainment. He's been supportive of this since day one, says McDougall. Pfeiffer said COVID has forced some limitations on what can be done this year. Last year, we did a small concert the night before, he said. This year, we can't really do that. Pfeiffer said projects that DECA takes part in are student organized and implemented, with Pfeiffer providing guidance. The students do them, number one, he said. Number two, we're just blessed to have a supportive community and school administration. The administration allows us to do things like this, and the community comes out year after year. This event in particular continues to grow a little bit each year. Moving forward, Samuel Forward and the History of the 1815 Tavern by John Cudley, Jr., special to the Aurora Advocate. The second family to settle in Aurora was Samuel Forward, Esquire, and his wife, Susanna, and their 7 children, Samuel Jr., Oliver, Chauncey, Rensselaer, Dryden, Betsy, and Julia. Another son, Walter, and his family settled in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, after initially coming with the family to Aurora. The Forwards arrived in 1803, moving from Granby, Connecticut, just 3 years after Ebenezer and Lovey Sheldon had established their homestead. Forward was born on April 21, 1752, in Hartford, Connecticut, and died on May 3, 1821, at the age of 69. His headstone can be found in the Aurora Cemetery. The Forwards settled on a homestead of 800 acres in the center of village, which encompassed an area bounded by what became South Chillicothe Road, Route 43, Route 82, and what at the one time was called Bissell Street or Bissell Road. The large tract of land covered what is today the center of town, where the town hall, the church in Aurora, the 1815 tavern, and businesses to the south along Route 43, extending westward where the fire station, Aurora High School, the woods in Aurora, the city's service center, and lands on both sides of West Pioneer Trail to Route 82. His son Samuel Jr. and his wife Abigail moved into a cabin near Harmon Pond, which is Sunny Lake. Upon arrival in Aurora, the family settled into a log cabin and set about making a homestead in the wilderness in an environment totally different from that of Connecticut. With very few white settlers in the area, there was always the fear of their relations with the region's Native Americans. In a letter to Israel Phelps of Granby, Connecticut, dated October 28, 1808, Forward describes that relationship, indicating that there was probably a greater danger of a conflict with Native Americans back home than there was in Aurora. As to the Indians, we had no disturbances with them here and never have apprehended any danger from them any more than I should in Hartford. If we should have a war with England, it might be that some people that live back might be in some danger, but I apprehend no danger here. In addition to being one of Aurora's largest landowners, Samuel was prominent in the formation of the small settlement's first governments. On December 14, 1807, the village of Aurora was formally organized. Forward, Ebenezer Sheldon, and Phineas Perkins were elected as trustees. Forward was also appointed as the overseer of the poorhouse because of his strong sympathetic nature and his old-fashioned community heart. His son Oliver served as the village's first clerk. In April 1808, Forward was also elected as Justice of the Peace and later as an associate judge of the Portage County Court. Well-known and highly respected citizen of Granby, Connecticut, he was influential in directing westward settlers to Aurora. Forward's commitment as one of the village's leading citizens was demonstrated when on July 4, 1807, his home was opened to the community to celebrate the nation's Independence Day and to observe the patriotic exercises of the day. As the population of Aurora continued to grow, the township trustees planned to meet the educational, spiritual, and governmental needs of the community. In 1816, Forward gave the township lot number 18, creating a town center upon which a log cabin school was built where City Hall now stands. Adjacent to the school, the land was also dedicated for the erection of the Congregational Church and a town hall. The only condition that Forward placed upon his gift to the town was that he would be able to reserve his pew in the Presbyterian meeting house. Samuel Forward was also recognized as a leader in the congregation and was called upon at times to investigate accusations that were made against members for their actions that were considered to be inconsistent with Christian character. On one occasion, Forward, along with David Loomis, accused Ebenezer Sheldon of using spirits to excess. In a separate charge, Sheldon's wife, Lovey, was accused of calling another member of the congregation a cheat. Both Ebenezer and Lovey were called before the congregation, where they acknowledged their faults and professed sorrow and promised to be watchful in the future. However, Forward must not have condemned drinking, just drinking to excess, because as early as 1810, he had been operating a public house. In 1821, he formally petitioned to the county to be able to keep a house of public entertainment. Forwards also distinguished themselves. Samuel Forward, Jr. opened the first school in Aurora located near the corner of East Pioneer Trail and Page Road. 3 of Ebenezer Sheldon's children, along with Samuel's 2 brothers and his sister, were his first students. Oliver Forward also taught school. In 1804, Sally Granger, Oliver's wife, gave birth to their first child born in Aurora, a boy named Cromwell. His eldest son, Walter, moved to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where he studied law and was admitted to the bar in 1806. In addition to his law career, Walter was an editor of the newspaper The Tree of Liberty. He served in the Pennsylvania General Assembly, later becoming a member of the U.S. Congress. In 1830, he played an important role in the formation of the Whig Party. From 1841 to 1843, he was U.S. Secretary of the Treasury in the term of office of President John Tyler. During the presidency of Millard Fillmore, he served as the U.S. Minister to Denmark. Chauncey Forward, after initially settling with the family in Aurora, moved to Somerset, Pennsylvania, practicing law. He also served in the Pennsylvania House of Representatives and later in the Pennsylvania Senate. From 1823 to 1831, He was a Pennsylvania representative to the U.S. House of Representatives. Initially, Forward's homestead consisted of a log cabin, a barn, livestock, and orchards. In July 1807, Robert Bissell, a local carpenter, was contracted by Forward to finish boarding and shingling his barn. Bissell was again hired to build Forward's mansion on the property, making it the oldest standing house in Aurora. The house was completed in June 1815. As early as 1810, Samuel Forward was keeping a tavern on his property where travelers could have a place to stop, have a meal and a drink, seek lodging, and have a place to stable one's horse. The tavern was later run by Robert Bissell. Upon Forward's death in 1821, ownership of his properties went to his eldest son, Walter of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Walters sold 100 acres to Moses Eggleston in 1826. A land speculator, Eggleston began to sell off portions of the property along South Chillicothe's C.R. Harmon Wayside Workshop, built his store adjacent to the 1815 house, and his cheese warehouse, the Secret Garden, next to which was Dr. Streeter's establishment, Mad Jack's, and various other shops and homes. Operation of the tavern after Forward's death continued under Robert Bissell. Moses Eggleston, Isaac Lacey, Dr. Burge, Artemus Stocking, William Baker, Nelson Eggleston, Noble Winterall, and last, once again, by Nelson Eggleston. Nelson had owned his own home on his father's property at 270 South Chillicothe and signed it over to the wife of the Presbyterian minister, which served as the church's parsonage. He took control over the 78 acres, remodeling the tavern into a home for his family. The central chimney was removed and replaced with 2 end chimneys, adding a balloon-framed wing to the west and a porch along the entire front of the house. Floor-to-ceiling windows, along with a Victorian-styled door, were added in the front. In 1864, Nelson Eggleston sold the property to Calvin Harmon, who continued to use the building as a tavern under the management of Winterall. As already mentioned, in 1871, Nelson bought back the property. Upon his death, the tavern was left to his sons, Addis and Robert, with the condition that if the house were to fall into disrepair or was mismanaged, the grandchildren would inherit the property. Apparently, Nelson's dubious concerns about the ability of his sons proved real, with the house falling into disrepair and Robert falling into debt and unable to pay the taxes on the property. The grandchildren sued for possession of the property and under a court order gained ownership. The house/tavern was once again sold in 1925, with major alterations being made. Plumbing and heating were installed, the interior stairwell was relocated, and the western addition was converted to a garage and maid's quarters. In 1985, ownership was taken over by Robert and Ruth Tuttle, who sought a zoning change from the city, allowing for the commercial use of the property. A major restoration and renovation of the building was undertaken, preserving the significance of this historic landmark. In 2015, Terry and John Updike purchased the 1815 house, and on February 15, 2016, opened the 1815 Tavern, adding a kitchen area to the west along with a patio for outdoor dining. It's hard to imagine what Samuel and Susanna Forward and their children envisioned as to what their homestead in the wilderness would become. From a simple log cabin, barn, orchard, and livestock, the land they called home is today a central focal point of Aurora's town center. Well, my dear friends, this concludes the reading of the Record Courier for Friday, February 26th. My name is Pam. Thank you for having me in your home. Thank you for listening. Keep safe, be blessed, and as always, make it a great day.